Is a tag
Oh,
scene to
I
begin?
already hit live. Hello, everybody. Pop culture curator here. So good to see you. We are back on another Wednesday evening or afternoon, depending on where you're at. So, which means we are back with two more episodes from Gilligan's Island, season three, and we're right about in the middle of the season. And if I sound a little tired, I apologize in advance. I've had a rough kind of last few days. And apparently, a poor gorilla here had something fall on his toe today, which is ironic because that's some of our jokes on the Gilligan's Island. The first episode, we've got a few jokes where they got things falling on their feet.
Yeah,
So I'm
deja.
sorry to hear that, gorilla.
Yeah, I suffer from deja vu all through this today.
Yeah, exactly. Now, gorilla, what were you going to say just before we got started? That by the
Nothing. I
time,
got it answered. I got it answered.
okay, sorry about that. I had already hit start and I couldn't stop.
No, it's fine. I got it. I got it answered, and I'll talk about it when we get to it.
Okay, but I wanted to say hello to Gorilla's Random Thoughts, and I hope you're doing well. And I know we've got a few people in the chat already. Oh, well, at least we have LDG, my good friend LDG. How are you doing, LDG? He's waving, and he
Hey,
says
pickles.
first.
Yeah. Hey, pickles.
Yep, good to see you, LDG. And we should have more people coming in. And then I wanted to address last night we had somewhat, but we were touching upon having a fundraiser for Nemesis of Eden on getting him a laptop. And I don't. I'm still confused. It seemed to hit a sore spot for some people. I don't know why, but he's my co-host and he deserves it. If there's anybody that's having fundraisers, I'm not trying to be inconsiderate. I try to help everybody, but yeah. So tonight we have two episodes coming up. We are covering season three, episode 15, and season three, episode 16. Sorry, episode 15 is entitled Gilligan Goes Gung-Ho. And it was originally aired Monday, December 26th, 1966. So apparently the day after Christmas. And the description is as follows. The skipper is named Sheriff of the island with Gilligan as his deputy. But when the skipper is away helping the professor, Gilligan becomes drunk with power and throws everyone in jail. And anybody who grew up with 60s television, like myself, any of the older people, will recognize this trope. This trope, or cliche, or however you want to put it, is as old as the hills. Like I have seen. I'm a fan of the old series, the Andy Griffith Show, and this is straight out of the Andy Griffith Show. There was an episode with the exact same plot with Barney Fife, who is a deputy who got power hungry and ended up locking everybody in town up inside the cell. So if you recognize this plot or this trope, don't be surprised because it was done many, many times. So, um, Suzanne is here. Hello, Suzanne Eckstein. She says, hello, Pop and Gorilla. I hope you're doing well, Suzanne. I hope you're
Yeah.
comfortable, warm, and dry.
Yeah. Hey, Suzanne.
Yeah, Suzanne says, LDG, hello. And it looks like it might be a light night tonight when it comes to people in the chat. But that's all just totally fine with me because I don't care if we have 2 people in chat. I don't care if we have 20 people in chat. That's what we're here for, and I'm going to enjoy it nonetheless. So let me get my episodes queued up here. I'm hoping I've got my fingers crossed I'm not going to have any trouble with my bandwidth tonight. So let's see what happens, right? Bear with me. I'll be right with you, everybody.
Yeah. Okay. And LDG says, hello, darling. Hello, darling. That's, I can't remember the rest of that song.
Thank you for
Uh,
reading that for me.
yeah. And Pickles here says, ready for some Gilligans.
We are ready for Gilligan, absolutely. I know there's been a few weeks there where we accidentally missed it because of something came up, but I'm going to keep come as I say, come hell or high water. We're going to complete this thing. We're already, like I said, midway through season 3, so we really don't have a lot left to continue with. Um, I hope everybody had a good time on the stream last night. I know we didn't do our usual horror sci-fi stream, and of course now the dogs. You might hear a little bit of noise from my dogs because I just fed them a little while ago. But I hope you guys had a good time on our stream last night. I had a great time. Like I said, I know there was a little bit of disagreement going on with our fundraisers, but we're going to try to clear the air of that when more people come along and come on board tonight. And let me get my subtitles ready. But I hope your toe gets better, Gorilla. That sounds extremely painful. So I'm really sorry. I'm sorry to hear that you're having trouble with that.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything that you want to say or add before we get started?
No, we're good.
Okay, we are good. All right, here we go.
Thing you don't want to do is ever call a paid channel member a liar. Oh yeah, that happened today because me to leave 20 channels and 2 discords.
I'm sorry, what happened? I didn't catch that.
Susanna sub to like a bunch of channels today and 2 discords because apparently she got called a liar.
I'm sorry, 2 channels and some Discord? I'm totally lost.
She says one thing you don't want to ever do is call a paid channel member a liar. Oh yeah, that happened today. Caused me to leave 20 channels and 2 discords.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that definitely cannot be good. I tend to be very careful with that word, with the word liar, before I use it. I know it's easy to hurt people's feelings, and I tend to not want to judge or criticize people. But I know there's a lot of drama that goes on the YouTube channels and on Discord, so I try to avoid that as much as I can as well. All right, so we have our opening of our heroes, which once again I wish we could play, but I can't because we will get copyright stricken up the you know what. So shame on that television station in Louisiana for doing that. Let me get my. I actually remembered this time. Let me get my overlay ready. There we go. Okay.
I wouldn't blame them because that is because it's not like we're reviewing the intro, we're reviewing the show. And welcome PvP.
Hey,
Welcome, welcome.
PvP, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir.
And Suzanne says PvP dear. And Suzanne says you're awesome, Pop.
Thank
And
you,
hey,
and I would say
Mikey.
likewise.
And he says, hello, roomies. Hey, well, if you're a roomie, where's your half the rent, Mikey? And everybody say hi to each other. And Pop needs
I'm sorry, it's cutting out, Gorilla. I didn't hear what you said.
you need 41 something 100.
Oh, well, I'll get there one of these days. I've also got to reach, I know as far as monetization is concerned, I need more watch hours, and I've got to try to make some video begging and pleading with YouTube to monetize me. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. Jill said the Cardinal Sin had to do it twice before they finally accepted him, but I guess we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
YouTube doesn't like me for some reason.
Uh, YouTube. And you've been always really careful with your stuff there with content wise, versus a lot of these other channels where we just said screw, we'll say what we want to say.
I've tried to be careful. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. And we got our opening with our cast of characters, the castaways.
And
I don't know. We're getting some distortion. Are you there? Hello, 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 hello,
can
hello, hello. I think Gorilla's having trouble with his mic tonight, so bear with us, guys. So created,
you
produced by Sherwood. Oh, I hope you're okay. That sounds like that was sounded painful, whatever that was.
yeah, just moved the cat, but can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Alrighty. No, but I one thing I noticed with this right here is this is reused music.
Oh well, yeah, just like Star Trek, they reuse a lot of their music. The incidental music. It's rare that they ever have original music on some of the episodes. Even to this day, even today, when they make TV shows, they reuse music a lot.
No, but this is almost like a theme song reuse.
Oh well, that's possible.
Like it's the exact same opening music here. Now there's kind of like a little bit of a shape here because if you look at the window here, way Gilligan's looking at it, you can see that flower box right there that he's
Uh huh.
behind. But wait till we get
Right.
to the inside of the hut here, and you'll see
Okay.
the window. Watch the window.
Where? Right. Where's the flower box?
Yeah. Hey, nice shot of Ginger right there.
It is a nice shot of Ginger. So we have Ginger, Marianne, and the professor are apparently rehearsing for a scene from one of Ginger's movies. But unfortunately, Gilligan doesn't know that it's rehearsing and that it's not real. They're acting like they're having an affair, and they're doing it behind Ginger's back. All right, it's her, it's her, it's her. That's right. It was me, me, me. So in jealousy, Ginger pulls out this gun and fires it at the professor. Of course, we have a collapsible table, which he falls upon. And
Yeah.
then you're right now, we
Eh,
cut back to the outside, and then we're back to the flower box again.
yeah. And the professor there was this is the third most injured character on the show. This is the fourth show episode that we've actually got him injured in.
Yes, and the third episode where we've seen blood.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about the blood ones, but the other ones he injured himself was three to get ready, knows by any other name, and quick before it sinks.
Thank you. Yes. Poor professor. Seems to be the fall guy a lot. Murder, help, police. So, of course, Gilligan mistakes, thinks that it's real, even though they were rehearsing and it was obviously a fake gun firing blanks. But Gilligan runs off and is that yelling for help. And
Help!
Howes are
Help!
confused.
Please! Please! Help! Help! Murder!
Right, and the Howes observe that. They say, "Why is he yelling for police? We don't have any police here."
Yeah. Now I will replace the police line with "Help! Help! Murder on the island! Help! Help! Murder on the island!" And they'd be like, "What is he yelling about? Something about murder on the island?" I think that would have been really good right there.
It would have, yeah. So here's we have Gilligan in a full panic mode, yelling, "Help! Help! Hey Skipper! Hey Skipper!" And it looks like Skipper is collecting rocks. Boy, but I got something to tell you. They're both excited, and they're both trying to talk at the same time. Gilligan is trying to tell him what he saw back at the huts, and Skipper's trying to explain to Gilligan that he found some phosphorus rocks. And Gilligan says, "I don't care if they glow. I just saw something." And that's what the skipper says. He says that's exactly what they do is glow. That perhaps they can make some glowing rocks and make an SOS sign. It can be
And
seen from a plane at night for miles.
well, I wouldn't know about miles because it just depends on how intense the glow is. But that's actually halfway ingenious. But
Yes.
if it's glowing, wouldn't it be radioactive?
Oh no. No, you can have natural glowing things.
Okay.
Like eels, like you have some things in the ocean that glow. And fireflies, for example, are another one. They glow without being radioactive. So Gilligan's going on about shooting and about a murder. Only I didn't shoot him, Ginger did. He said that the professor's been shot and she lets the professor. I'm sorry, guys. I can't remember. Like I said, we have to skip every few seconds. So it's
Well,
hard, nearly impossible to remember all the dialogue. So once again, we recommend you watch this episode on your own so we don't ruin the jokes. Best we can do is just show it as it is with the subtitles and hope you can try to piece it together. But like I said, it's more fun if you try to watch the episode on your own. And they are available on streaming and as well as regular television. But we once again recommend physical copy.
no. Well, what really happens here is on that last scene there, that's deja vu. No, but all that really happens is he kept repeating himself.
The professor or Gilligan?
No, the skipper.
Oh, that's right, the skipper. I'm sorry, the skipper.
Yeah,
Duh.
they threw the rock down on his toe.
Yes, that's right. In fact, the skipper did. He threw it down this time. It was his own fault.
Now you mentioned this is the third episode that we see blood in here, which is a
Uh-huh.
really rare incident there. But if we remember, there was blood when Gilgan was jabbed by Miss Mr. Howell's tie clip in Forward March. Then the professor had a minor
Yes.
scratching his head in 3 to get ready.
Yes, yes, thank you. So they're nursing the professor's nose, and of course he's taking advantage of that. They're in the girl's hut, and now is where the skipper and Gilligan are eavesdropping and looking in the window.
Yeah. And yeah, this and the music from this was actually reused music from that appeared in it's a funeral dirge that showed up in court martial.
Oh, the episode court martial.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Thank you. And now they open the door and eavesdrop like nobody's gonna notice. And the professor happens to be resting, and they think that he's dead,
You know
which of
all the
course he's
way
not.
he's leaving his arms.
Yes.
Hey, you had a good shot of Gilgan there. Hey, now what the heck? What's up with the scene here? What is up with the scene? This was driving me nuts.
What do you mean? I'm
Look
not
at the
sure what
back.
you
Look at the
mean.
background by Gilligan and all that. It looks all wonky and screwed up.
The curtain on the hut? Are you talking about behind them, the trees and everything on the outside
Behind
are?
them, almost like they filmed Ginger and Marianne, and then they filmed Gilligan and Skipper.
I don't know. I didn't notice that. It seems to
I
look
don't know.
okay to me, but you could be right.
Well, the scene just looks like crooked and out of place and disproportioned.
Do you think it might be because of the bamboo in the hut because it's crooked? Because like if you look next to Gilligan, that bamboo is crooked. In fact, all the bamboo is crooked in the hut. So maybe that might be it. I don't know. Gilligan, you can open your eyes now. So the professor tells them that it was just fake and they were just rehearsing. And Ginger even fires a gun to show them that it just fires blanks. Oh, they were just blanks. So they explained to him, but of course that scared Gilligan and he passed out. So now we cut to later on when the Howls are still relaxing. Ah, Professor, you're just the man we were talking about. So now they're talking to him about Gilligan in panic mode earlier when he was running by, and they were saying that he was shouting for the police.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to unplug my mic here.
Go for it.
Can you still hear me good?
I hear you right now, currently.
Okay, because apparently I'm having problems with it now all of a sudden. But no, that gun that they brought, do you think that showed up in that came in that crate that Gilligan dug up with the camcorder and
The
everything?
Hollywood stuff, it could be right. Right. There's all that. Right, there was what he's talking about, everybody in the chat, is we had a previous episode where movie making equipment washed up on the island in a couple crates. And one of them could have been a gun that shoots blanks. Because where else would they have gotten the gun? Excuse me, folks. You have given me food for thought, he said. So,
Yeah, well,
gentlemen,
that's
you
that's because they they they're gonna form their own sheriff's department voted in.
yes, they decided perhaps they do need some sort of law and order there on the island. And they decide they're going to try to vote in who should be the sheriff. So the professor explains they need some form of legal authority on the island. And these three men, now they're discussing between the three of them who should be sheriff. And I noticed they left the professor out of that discussion, I guess. And actually, a true sign of the 60s, they didn't mention any of the women to his sheriff. But automatically, I thought it was kind of odd because you think it would be the skipper. He would automatically be in charge, I would think.
Well, Mr. Howell will always have to butt heads, and think he's in charge.
Right. What do you think being a millionaire like he is, the first thing you think he would have to do is start bribing people? Start bribing people for votes. I suggest we elect a sheriff, and the sooner the better. What about you, Professor? No, I'm afraid I'm in the middle of an experiment. So that leaves him out of the picture with those. So the professor is talking about that he's too busy with those phosphorescent rocks that glow that he's not able to be the sheriff. And Mr. Howell says, "That's right. Your place is in the laboratory." "I'm not doing anything at all. I could be the sheriff," says Gilligan. And of course, they brush him off and ignore him. "Idiotic. Sorry I asked," he said. "For the job of sheriff is," and then the professor says the logical choice should be the skipper. But Mr. Howell volunteers and says that in his opinion, he's perfectly capable. And Gilligan says preposterous. And they all look at him and he says, well, that's what you said. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to explain the joke, and it's hard to, like I said, when we have to skip through every few seconds.
Well, Gilligan's the one that wants it there, and everybody's just saying, no, that's idiotic, stupid, it's preposterous. Because
Exactly.
basically they want it down to Mr. Howler and Skipper is basically what it is.
Yes. And then this year was kind of interesting because Mr. Howell says, I know judo. And they said, really? And he said, yes, I hold a black belt in karate. Ha! Well, judo and karate are two different things. So it seems odd when somebody says, oh, you know judo, huh? Yeah, I know karate. It's like, wait a minute, what? Which one is it, judo or karate? Or both? Karate, where did you learn karate? And he says he had a master in Japan that had legs like steel bands, and he proceeds to describe arms like iron bars and hands like claws. With it all, a very charming young lady. Well, I must say, Mr. Howell, karate is beyond me. I mean, if you're that strong, you should. And of course, they're arguing back and forth on who should be the sheriff. I'll have you know that I can flatten a man. Yah, says Mr. Howell. Twice your size with one karate chop. So he gives a karate chop to the back of the neck of the skipper. And as you can see, the skipper's nonchalant and it doesn't affect him at all. But it does hurt Mr. Howell's hand.
Yeah. And Gilligan's just looking all depressed and moody.
Poor Gilligan. Yeah, well, yeah, they just ignore him. And of course, Gilligan does want some attention and he does want to be sheriff, but of course, they consider him incompetent, unfortunately. And he says, oh, my karate pinky. So apparently, we find out Mr. Howell obviously does not know karate. Striking a defenseless man with your bare neck, he says.
So that sounds like one of those things there. Oh, there was a mistake in the scene.
Really? What's that?
Well, in the hut there,
Did I already miss
unless,
it?
unless they downgraded the sleeping on the floor, their hammocks are missing.
Oh, well, that's possible. Okay, so they're inside their hut right now, correct?
Yeah.
Let me see here. Did I miss it? Let me see. This is where we have the skipper reading the book, The Criminal Law. Boy, we got a lot to learn, he says. You're right. I don't see any huts yet. They're usually over to the side, to the right there. Like we have the skipper sitting on the table, Gilligan
Yeah.
walking in the door, and usually the huts are to the right of that. Let's see. And Skipper's telling them they've got to practically memorize that book. Yeah, learn all about criminals and their sneaky ways. And of course, Gilligan's offering to be the deputy, so we're assuming that Skipper is going to be the sheriff. Yeah, I don't see any the Not only
Yeah.
do they
Yeah.
have usually not only do they have the hammocks, but they obviously have those posts that run through the ceiling to the ground that support the hammocks.
Yeah.
And he's telling him Gilligan that he's the saddest looking deputy he ever did see. Now, where's your whistle? Gilligan struggles to get it out of his shirt.
Yeah. Did it look like me, or did it look like his left side was he was having trouble with his left side part of the during part of the scene?
In the scene, wait, is it coming up or they already showed it?
No, in the scene, it seemed like he was struggling a little bit with his left side.
Well, I'll try to see if we can show it without getting a copyright warning.
No, well, we're just quietly past it, but it's not the big deal. It just seemed like he was having a little bit of issues with his left arm there, like not moving or keeping it straight and stuff like that. And I thought he was keeping his left leg a little bit straighter. But this scene, he was totally normal.
Okay, gotcha. So now we have Gilligan with a club, which he's swinging around on a string or a piece of rope. That's one thing you won't see anymore is a cop carrying around a club.
Yeah,
So
come to think
Gilligan,
about it, I haven't seen our cops actually have them anymore either.
no, now they have the uh, stun gun.
Yeah.
And I would never want to be stunned by one of those stun guns. Have you ever seen them? They have like fish hooks on them. So when they stick into your skin, they've got to pry them out and it rips your skin. I mean, those have got to be painful. So for those people that get hit by them, it's like good luck with that. I wouldn't ask for that. As soon as the cop was warning me, if I was doing something to get into trouble, and as soon as the cops said, "Yeah, you better stop or we'll stun you," I'd be like, "Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Don't stun
Hey,
me."
hey, you know how hard I tried to talk the cop into use a taser on me so I could get a video for it. Now, granted, I was like 8 beers in within that hour at the day at the town dance, but that's a whole different song. Well,
Yeah, and he's not going to want to get fired. They're not supposed to fire them unless they absolutely have
he
to.
said he said he didn't want to fill out the paperwork for it.
Well, he's being nice, but obviously they're not. It's like a regular gun. They're not supposed to fire it unless they absolutely have to. And also true that if they do fire it, they do have to fill out paperwork to explain why it was fired.
Yeah, well, he said it would fit 16 pages of paperwork just to fire his taser.
I would not be surprised. Which is why a lot of the cops let people like criminals go. They don't feel like filling out the paperwork because they know by the time they're done filling out the paperwork, the criminal will be back on the streets anyway.
Well, it all depends on. But when you gotta fire that when you gotta fire that they gotta cover they gotta cover themselves wherever they can. And let's catch up on chat. We got a bunch of chats here.
Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you, sir.
Scrolling. And Suzanne says, I can help with watch hours. I'll just leave you playing in the background on a few devices.
Oh,
Now
well,
for
thank you.
watch hours, you got to make sure it's the stuff that you haven't already watched because that will not count towards watch hours.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's one view count per per account per
Okay.
thing. So like these people that have like 134 million views on the video, it's not that they had 130 total of 131 views. Is 131 million different accounts viewed that video. If that makes
Yes.
sense.
Also, right, and according to LDG, if they're viewing your video and they mute it, then you don't get the watch hours for that as well.
Or if you're in another tab.
Oh, they can tell if you're in another tab. That
Oh,
figures.
oh yeah,
They're
they know
kickers.
everything.
That figures. Sore losers.
Yeah, and PvP says Star Trek music was like a character all its own. Well, it depends on which episode, because once they fired that one guy in TNG, it all turned into generic music.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I can't remember what season he got fired. I think he got fired right after Best of Both Worlds, and the music just went downhill.
Yeah, and see, and I always thought that the TNG music was it was just background noise. I never thought it stood out. Nothing like TOS music. I always loved the TOS music, like
The first
Doomsday Machine and a Mock Time. I mean, that's got some memorable music behind TOS. But I couldn't tell you one single episode from TNG where the music stands out in my mind. But
Best of Both
that's
Worlds right
that's
there for
me.
me. Best of Both Worlds for me, but no, yeah, no. The first few seasons had very memorable or really good music. May not be memorable, But then after that, after they fired that guy, all of a sudden it's like they went with the generic composer that was a lot cheaper.
I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised at all.
Yeah. And Mikey says, so we're at season 3, episode 15. I'm so sorry that I
Correct.
missed a lot. Well, Mikey, now's your chance. You can go back and re-listen to all 3 seasons.
Right, we do have all 3 seasons on my channel. I encourage you to go back and check them out if you'd like. And if you do, hit the like button. If you enjoy it, that is. I'm not going to tell you to hit the like button if you don't enjoy it, but if you do enjoy it, hit the like button.
Yeah. And Mikey says, Pop's dogs must love this episode.
Oh, yeah, they're always up here. They're fighting to get in my lap, and they want to be up here right by the microphone. Silly pooches. So if you're wondering,
Yeah.
that's where you hear the heavy breathing. That's not me. That's my dog up here, Rocky. He's on my lap.
Yeah. And Mikey says, true PvP. Then he said, PvP, this island needed some eggnog. And PvP says, they needed a Christmas episode, Mikey. I don't remember them doing one though. Season 1.
Season 1, yes, they had one Christmas episode. Out of all 3 seasons, there's only one, but they did. And we even got to see the skipper dressed up as Santa Claus. Are we done with the chat?
Sorry, I was responding to a
Sorry.
message here. Sorry. Mikey says, actors Glenn Lagan and James Spencer, the pilots there, were uncredited for this episode too.
Yes,
Well,
I do recognize them from other things. They weren't really big actors, but I do recognize them from other things. And I'll be right back. I've got to get something to drink. My throat is dry. I'll be right back.
Here, and Mikey says, AM to that PvP, lol. And PvP says, Skipper as Santa would have been great. No, they actually had real Santa. Thank you very much, PvP. And Mikey says, Gilligan as an elf, lol. Mikey says, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, I believe is a quote. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. He says, miscellaneous Gutha, the phosphorescent rocks were never mentioned again as a possible rescue aid. Oh, were they not? Maybe. They have to pay for the carbon ball they used to generate the zap. Oh, did they have to pay for it? Oh, okay. Okay, so if I make sock account, that would count? Probably. I'm not. That's an LDG question. Heckles, where are you? Suzanne has a question for you. And Mikey says, LOL, Suzanne. And I meant TOS Music Gorilla. Well, I meant TNG. And I guess I forgot the Christmas one, though. I would have seen it years ago. Yeah, that was way back. It was a black and white one. There was at the beginning of season. No, at the end of season 1. I'll Google it for you here.
Here we go. What's the question?
I was gonna Google that Christmas episode for PvP.
Gotcha. Go for it.
Yeah.
I know it was definitely season 1. I know it was in black and white.
Oh yeah, that's birds gotta fly, fish gotta
Fish gotta
talk,
talk.
and that
Yep.
was let's see, season 1, episode 12.
Yep. That sounds about right.
So, and Mikey, I already got it. Now this was obvious stock footage and all that, but what do you think so they were looking for something there because they had a search party.
Well, it said they were on a routine search party. So it sounded like just a routine thing. And they were also talking about how they were having to watch their gas.
Oh yeah, because well, those things don't get very good mileage. I tell you that right now.
Oh no, they don't. You're right about that. And the aircraft the search and rescue crew fly is a Grumman HU-16 Albatross, a large twin-engine amphibious flying boat that was used by the United States Air Force, United States Navy, and the U.S. Coast Guard, primarily as a search and rescue aircraft. It normally has a crew of 4 to 6 and an operational range of about 2,850 miles, which isn't bad. That's actually pretty good miles, pretty good range. Okay, are we done with chat?
Yes, we're. Oh, hey, welcome, Scurvy. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, Lemon Pie. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
All right, now we're all caught up.
Thank you, sir. So there's our stock footage, of course. And Gilligan has his book that he's studying, and he catches Mr. Howell coming out of their hut, and he says that Mr. Howell stole the skipper's binoculars, but he says no, he just wants to borrow them so him and Mrs. Howell can go bird watching. And Mr. Howell tries to bribe him, and of course Gilligan will have none of that. And Mr. Howell keeps trying to walk away, and Gilligan's pulling him back with the string of the binoculars. And he's yelling, "Help, help!" And the professor and Skipper hear this and come running to the rescue. And they agree. They say, well, yeah, he was going to borrow the binoculars, but basically that is stealing because he didn't ask first. Well, now, Mr.
It was
Howell, we
a
all gave our word.
technicality.
We need it. Sorry, go ahead.
It was a technicality.
It was. Well, I have a feeling, too, being that there's only 7 castaways in total, they're probably always borrowing everybody else's equipment and clothing and everything else. And here's where the professor said, well, Mr. Howell, we did agree that we had to follow some law and order, and that Gilligan is a deputy. We must agree to obey that authority and to accept the penalty if we break the law. I know that you understand the principle involved, he says. After all, you're a man of ethics. And he says, you know how to cut a man, don't you? Says Mr. Howell. But Mr. Howell agrees, all right, I hereby officially turn myself in or place myself under hut arrest.
Yeah,
And there we have Mr. Howell locked up. And Mrs. Howell sobbing, of course. Thurston, you're a convict. He says, I'll take this to the Supreme Court. I'll take it to the Rules Committee at the Newport Country Club, he says. And we have more of the people that are searching. Because basically the joke is that of all times, this would be the best time for the castaways to be out there with SOS rocks, torches, flames, smoke, whatever, you name it. But they're so distracted with their own daily, everyday lives in those jail that they're pretty much missing their opportunity to be rescued, unfortunately.
well, that comes at the end of the episode.
Yes, yes, kind of. And of course, Mr. Howell's acting like he's suffering, even though it's not really anything major.
Yeah,
And the girls are cooking.
yeah. Jail ain't that bad. You go in there, challenge the guys to spades, and win their desserts for the weekend.
And if I was going to be in jail everywhere, I wouldn't complain about being in jail on Gilligan's Island. I mean, there's a lot worse places you could be, obviously. I
Oh
wouldn't want to
yeah.
be in a Siberian prison. So what happens is Gilligan tells them that they're building the fire too close to the hut. And they're trying to say, but this is where we always have our fire. So he tries to arrest Ginger, and when he goes to arrest Ginger, Marianne is trying to help Ginger, and they both struggle, which gets both of them arrested, unfortunately. Aiding and abetting someone who was resisting arrest while violating Ordinance 33 in the Municipal Code, he says. Oh, that's a serious charge. For being dumb enough to let him grab me, said Ginger. Thurston Howell III has arranged everything, he says. He's got a trick up his sleeve. Mrs. Howell is going to bake a cake, he says. Which they make clear to show that it looks, at least it appears to be, what looks like a chocolate cake. And I'm thinking, okay, they have cocoa on the island where they can refine and make their own chocolate? Well, I would be really happy if I had that.
Well, they'd be substituting there. Now with that there, with Mrs. Howell here, I had a note about that. Mrs. Howell try, yeah, they used the cake to try to break him out. And she picked up some cooking lessons from Marianne, but yeah, because
Right,
agonized labor, she picked up some cooking lessons from Marianne, and it
exactly. How
reveals,
to. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, it reveals that she's a horrible cook.
Yes, because that's what I was going to say. Is how in the heck did Mrs. Howell know how to cook? And if she does cook, would you trust it? I don't think I would. And Gilligan asks if he can have a piece, and he says a very small piece. She says, "Oh, Gilligan, now you spoiled everything." Unfortunately, Gilligan pulls out a file, and she said, "You took the piece with the file in it."
Mm.
That old plot. And now we have Mrs. Howell also behind bars.
Oh shoot, that's right. I missed that with the equipment goof when Gilga was tapping out the fire. The floor moved.
Oh, that's right. Yes. What they probably did is they had probably a mat, some sort of flame-proof mat under the sand, and then they had the fire. That way they wouldn't burn the sound stage. Because obviously, as we all know, where they're at right now is the sound stage. They're not out on the lagoon.
Yeah.
And Professor's all excited and telling you about the phosphorus rock. Gilligan's more focused on the law book. And Gilligan asks him how would they be able to get the rocks, and the professor says because he made homemade dynamite. Well, it was the only way to that we could get the rocks, said the professor. Well, it doesn't matter because that got him arrested too, carrying a concealed weapon. So now we have almost everybody in jail.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
these,
I considered the dynamite a concealed weapon there, but it's like the professor must be very, very talented if he can handle all the corrosive materials that it takes to make dynamite there with just coconuts and
yeah,
bamboo.
exactly right, right. With that's what I would be wondering is what material do they make that dynamite out of? Because usually it's nitroglycerin. I'm wondering, okay, how do you get nitroglycerin on the island? You what? Says the skipper. And now he's listing off why each person was arrested. The law is the law. Okay, Captain Bligh. Which is a reference
Oh
to Mutiny on the Bounty.
no, it was no. I thought that was a Gunsmoke reference.
No, when he says Marshall Dillon, when you hear the name Dillon, which they do also mention in this episode, that's the reference to Gunsmoke. But when you
Oh,
hear Captain Bligh, that's to Mutiny on the Bounty.
okay. Yep, that's right. All right.
When I took my oath to guard the peace, I vowed to. Of course, we can't show all the text. You said to go by the book, and I went by the book, he said. So Skipper demands the key. Gilligan refuses. Finally, the skipper roughs him up a little bit, and the key drops to the ground. And Skipper goes to rescue everybody. Hold it down now, ladies. He said they're all excited because they're going to be rescued. We'll talk about this after we get back to camp, says the skipper. Right now, we've got to get out of jail. But then that's when the skipper realizes he accidentally forgot the key in the lock. And they get locked in there. Gilligan locks them inside. And now they're eating a homemade gruel that apparently was prepared by Gilligan.
Yeah, it was a coconut pot pie.
Coconut pot pie, exactly. It's his own creation, Mrs. Howell. And coming from Gilligan, I imagine it probably does not taste very well. Mr. Howell says, but wait, I have friends on the outside. One of them happens to be a chef. A lot of good that's going to do him there on the island. I'm crashing out of here. Are you with me, my dear? And she says, you can count on me. And then she whispers to Ginger, Thurston and I are crashing out of here. Are you with us? And Ginger agrees and tells Marianne. And Marianne agrees and tells the professor. The professor agrees and tells Skipper. And Skipper agrees and tells Mr. Howell. We're crashing out of here, Mr. Howell. Are you with us? Now, why didn't I think of that, says Mr. Howell. Of course, originally it was his idea.
Ugh.
Ring around the rosy, all right, girls, in the back of the cave. So now they're going to implement their plan.
No, this one here, I was laughing so hard because they go to break out. You could distinctly see that they went and slowed down and just slightly tapped the thing.
Oh, yeah, you mean when they act like they're going to rush the gate, the bars, the bamboo bars. You're right, they barely touch it. You could tell because the prop, it's not going to be able to hold up to much weight. Let's see if we can show it like that. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's about right.
No, but it's just so funny just watching the slowdown. And they only try it once. Now, I just watched a video where there was a hostage situation at the store, and they had a steel door where the guy locked himself behind him with the hostage, and now that um, and that guy, they brought this big old guy who's probably about the size bigger than the rock there, and he just grabbed the battering ram, and it took him 24 hits to knock that door down.
Jeez.
Yeah. Huh. That guy was holding the hostages there. Let's just say he got some extra breathing holes.
Not good, not good. That does sound painful.
Yeah, but they should at least try to. They should have at least hit that door a couple times. But the skipper's so convinced that his sturdy work there because he's the one that built it.
Yes, that's true. And Ginger has an idea that they're gonna try to use an idea out of one of her movies that she was in. Sing a song of Sing Sing. Get ready, everybody. Here he comes. So Gilligan's checking everything. He's doing his rounds. And then Ginger runs up. Help, help, help. They're going to kill each other. So they're acting like the skipper and the professor are fighting.
And the Gilligan just starts leaning on the bars.
Yeah, exactly. And just watching out of entertainment. Of course, they're not very good at acting it. How do you like that, Tough, huh? Tough? Ha. He's going to kill him, says Ginger. Great, great. I saw Sing a Song of Sing Sing 3 times, says Gilligan. And he's clapping because he loved the recreation from the scene of the movie. And that was my favorite scene, he said. And of course, it's a fictitious title. There's no such movie. He saw it, he saw it, he saw it. So they're like, oh no. And now we're back with the pilots who are still doing their rounds. There's one more little island they mentioned. I think we got to check it out. Being just south of here. Okay, but we better keep our eye on our fuel.
Yeah, because they only give them enough fuel to do the mission there to reduce weight there.
That is true.
Because
And the only fuel they have is anybody who knows aircraft is what they can store in the wings. That's where the fuel is. So as big as those wings are, that's how big their gas tanks are.
yeah, but if the pilot, like, say you're on a, like, especially a commercial flight, if your pilot screw up, you better hope there's another airport they can land at pretty damn quick. Because
Oh yeah,
they only give enough for like a slight delay, or if something happens where they can't land right away.
yes, you're completely correct. They have a little bit of extra gas, but not much. Maybe we should bribe them. That's how. And Mr. Howe reminds them that's how one gets in, not out. Because remember, that's what got him in there. Hey, hey, I remember something we did in San Quentin Blues, another fictitious title, of course. So now they're making a bunch of noise and they're banging on the door. We want out. We want out. Yada, 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 Warden. And Gilligan comes up and he's clapping because that was another one of the movies he saw and it was his favorite scene.
Yeah.
And the picture the cons thought they could get this guard, see? And he starts even telling them about this scene and reenacting it.
Yeah. Can we catch up on chat real quick?
Good idea, thank you.
Mikey says the aircraft the search and rescue crew fly is a Grumman U-16 Albatross, a large twin-engine Airbus flying boat that was used by the Air Force, Navy, and Coast Guard.
Oh, okay, yeah, we were talking about that. Very cool.
Yeah. Were they still flying them when you were in the Air Force?
No, oh no, those were definitely no. They do modernize their equipment, with some exceptions. Like they're still using the B-52s, and those are like hecka old from the 1950s. But in most cases, they usually do swap out the equipment for newer stuff. So by the time that I was in the Air Force, they were using what was called an A3510 and a
Okay.
KC-135.
Yeah, now we got the C-130s, don't we?
And the C-130 was also being used when I was in the Air Force.
Okay, so this is the upgrade to the C-130, I'm guessing.
Pretty much, yeah. Or the C-130 was an upgrade of this.
Yeah. As Kirby says, let the Lord of the eggnog come forth. Let it be poured upon him. Oh, actually, the last part was me, but that's a reference to the Return of the King there. Then we talked about this with the man underneath. They learned how to make dynamite from Captain Kirk, obviously. Well, Captain Kirk made a shotgun that should have blown up in his face.
That's true about that. I don't know if I would have trusted that.
Yeah.
A plane, we're going to be rescued. So now they hear the plane, but they realize, wait a minute, there's nothing we do. We can't flag it down because we're all inside this cave.
Now, I'm not sure if we're going to see if the scene pass or we're going to see the scene there, but it's obviously not the island because there's no lagoon, no mountains, or nothing. But the pilot should have been able to see the hut.
There we go. It's a
Yeah,
pretty good
that
shot of
was
an island. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we see a lagoon, if they show the detail. The huts could
but
be under the trees.
well, this is obviously stock footage, but you don't see the big old
Well,
mountain
yeah.
on there or the lagoon. But they should have seen the in a clearing there. They should have seen the huts, But this is obviously stock footage.
Right, but I was thinking that maybe even if there is a lagoon, okay, like maybe this is not the right approach for them to see the lagoon. It could be hidden by under the trees. But also, if you think if you were the castaways on the island, you would have built your huts under the trees for shade because this is a tropical island in the Pacific where it tends to get hot. And they've established that sometimes some of their evenings and night times can be upwards of like 90 something to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if that was the
Well,
case, I would build my hut under a tree.
well, no, no, I'd build. You'd have plenty of shade there, but I would have built it out on the beach there, so you get the cool breeze for as much of the ocean breeze as you can, so it's not blocked out by the trees.
Right. Or you could have both. You could have your huts that are under the trees, plus build some huts out on the beach there so that they can be clearly seen by an airplane or a boat.
Well, not only that, that there, I think that it'd be a lot cooler on the beach than the ocean breeze than it would be under the trees, because the trees can trap heat.
Absolutely. Yes, you're right. That is possible as well.
Yeah. And welcome, Jim.
Hello, Jim. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, he says hello. And oh yeah, Mike says so. Once again, Gilligan's ineptness causes all the castaways to be not to be rescued again. LOL.
Unfortunately, now
Yeah,
remember we've covered episodes where Gilligan saves the day as well, but in this one, right, the ineptness backfires.
yeah. And welcome, Taylor Swift, greater than Star Wars, Disney, and MCU.
Hello,
Man,
Taylor Swift. Good to see you there. Hope you're
man,
doing
that was
well.
a mouthful. And apparently, we got a bunch of sodas here. Jim saying hi to us, and everybody's saying hi to everybody here. All right, we're all caught up.
Very cool. And there goes the airplane, and it is too late. They are not going to be rescued. Oh, the plane! It's going. It's going. It's going. Gone. Gilligan, is there anything you'd like to say? Just one thing. Well, say it fast. Make way for the Red Ball Express, he says. And he busts through the door on his way out. And we have Gilligan now as the sole person in jail. And we have the skipper repairing the bars with some twine. There, that ought to hold you to
Yeah,
lock somebody up without telling them what they did.
yeah.
Just a moment, Gilligan. Sorry, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, no, it can wait here, but also that this scene here was kind of out of syndication.
Another time they chopped it up. Jeez. Does it say why, or is it probably for timing?
It said I think it had to do something with the Count of Monte Cristo reference.
Oh, I wonder why they would consider that offensive.
I don't know.
I doubt if it.
This is the tag that I got here. It said the episode has a tag scene removed in syndication, locked up for screwing up the rescue. Gilligan references the book and movie Count of Monte Cristo to reveal he is tunneling out of jail.
Yes, they do. They show that now because obviously they referenced in this one episode. They referenced Mutiny on the Bounty. They referenced Gunsmoke, and now they're referencing the Count of Monte Cristo. And I don't know why they would. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, it says here in the criminal law, section 7, paragraph 14, a rescue to be fouled because. So he's explaining to Gilligan why he's locked up. And he says it's because he caused the rescue to be fouled up. So anybody who does goes to jail for as long as the skipper says, he says. There's no law like that in my book. We'll just tell the girls I'll be home in time for dinner, says Gilligan. Believe me, Gilligan, there is no way out of here for you. So this is the reference you're talking about they removed. Because he outright says the Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah. Um. The, and also the two syndicated versions of the episode edited out two scenes. The MeTV airings edits out when the professor talks to Mr. and Mrs. Howell. The Sundance TV and IFC airings edit out the part where Gilligan runs past the house as he jumps over the chairs.
And see, there's
I don't
no
know why.
reason for that. That's got to be strictly for timing. There's nothing offensive about it, obviously. So I wanted to cut out the entire scene, even the tunneling here, like they're showing. That's not right. It totally ruins the fun. And we got our closing credits.
Um, this episode here was kind of a ripoff of the Andy Griffith Show, though, with the episode Andy
Yeah, that's
sees
what I was
Barney.
men- Yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier. I mean, it was straight up direct. By the way, both of the shows were around the same time. The Andy Griffith Show was before this because it was still in black and white, but they were also both CBS. And also the reference to Gunsmoke, where he calls him Marshall Dillon, I thought that was kind of foretelling because when he refers to Skipper as Marshall Dillon, remember now the reason why Gilligan's Island was canceled in the first place was because of Gunsmoke. Because at the end of the season, the third season, when they were and debating what was going to be canceled, what was going to be kept over for another season, they were going to keep Gilligan's Island because it had good ratings. But the only reason why they didn't was because the program manager said that his wife likes Gunsmoke. So that's the only reason why Gilligan's Island was canceled was so that Gunsmoke could stay on the air for like the 20th. I mean, seriously, like 21st season in a row. I mean, that show was on the air more than 2 decades. But we got no more Gilligan and we got more Gunsmoke. And we get our closing credits. Glad to see ya. Glad to see you. All right. How are we doing on the chats, sir?
Oh, we're getting a little bit behind here. We got
All
pizza
right.
from Taylor Swift, and
Ooh, yum yum.
welcome the man of many words, Cody Guy.
Hello, Cody guy. So good to see you there.
And Taylor Swift here says they're really editing this stuff. LOL. Well, it depends on which syndicated version you watch.
Well, it's getting to where it's either one channel or the other. It's not BTV. It's another channel that's cutting it out. So your best bet is to avoid them. Just avoid all these syndicated crap these days. Like I said, don't even do the streaming because they tend to also chop them up. So the best thing to do is go out. They're not that expensive. Go out and buy you the DVD or the Blu-ray set of Gilligan's Island. You'll be much happier. You're gonna know that you get all the scenes with no doubt and no question.
Yeah.
It's
And
shameful that they do that. Sorry, go
Taylor
ahead.
Swift says LOL, and Suzanne says this was fun, and we're all caught up.
Thank you, Suzanne. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay, and with that, we are now on episode 16 of season 3. So we are now on the episode Take a Dare. This episode, like I said, season 3, episode 16, Take a Dare, and it broadcasted on Monday, January 2nd, 1967. And the description is as follows. A game show contestant comes to the island and can win $10,000 if he can survive 1 week without outside assistance. So he refuses to let the castaways use his transmitter because he would have to forfeit the prize. And I have to ask Gorilla, do you recognize the guest star this week?
Oh, was that?
Do you recognize the guest star this week?
I've heard of him, but I can tell you what he has. I can tell you some of his more prominent roles.
Well, I'm saying without looking it up, though, do you recognize him from when he was, because we just covered him in an episode of Lost in Space just a couple months ago. Do you remember that, where he played Mr. Narum, the miner that
Okay.
was, remember he was digging in the solarium or whatever that
Oh, gotcha.
essence of life?
Yeah, but I don't remember that.
Okay, that's fine. amongst all the other things. Because right, I can go through right now and start listing his credits of what he's done, and it would go on forever and ever.
No,
The guest
well,
star. Go ahead.
I just got. It's the first thing on the list here. The stuff that I got that's gonna be that people were talking about on this episode. That's
So is it going to be
all.
the larger roles like Cool Hand Luke, or are you talking about like the TV episodes?
Uh,
I'm trying not to confuse the people in the chat, but what we're
yeah,
talking about is in this upcoming episode, we're getting guest star the great Strother Martin, and he was a very prolific actor back in the day, who popped up in a lot of stuff. The Searchers with John Wayne, um, a lot of TV shows, a lot of movies. So I don't want to. I want to clarify that for the people in the chat as
well,
well.
he's the guy that says what we got here is a failure to communicate.
That's right.
That's the guy, and he is also gun. He's also in Gunsmoke, and he's the evil warden in Cool Hand Luke.
That's absolutely correct. Thank you. Okay, so here we have our opening. Oh, we're gonna need our subtitles. Can't do without that. Subtitle episode. We are on 16. Let's make sure we don't screw this up here. That is me screw this up. There we go. And once again, I wish I could play the opening theme, but I can't because we will get copyright stricken or warning or something. All I know is that YouTube doesn't like me and they will not monetize my channel. They keep refusing.
Yeah, Gilligan's Island would be the one that the bots catch right away.
I've been lucky though since I put up this overlay here with the trees and everything. We've been having a little bit better luck, but I'm not going to speak too soon and then get a copyright warning. But
Yeah.
I want to thank again, once again, I want to give credit where credit's due, and that was a wonderful idea by LDG to put these overlays up here because that hopefully will help prevent getting copyright warnings. So we have Gilligan listening to radio, and we have a couple pails of fish, and the skipper is fishing, and Gilligan says we almost have enough for a whole can of sardines. So he's kind of poking fun at Skipper and the size of the fish he's catching. So he says to the skipper, "You should hear this show that I'm listening to." And Skipper says, "I can't hear it." He has to unplug the headphone.
Yeah, now they thought of headphones before headphones are cool.
Well, and those headphones, the kind that Gilligan's wearing, have you ever seen them or tried them? They're very painful. They're like these hard plastic things that would stick in your ear. And I remember having when I had it when I was a kid, I had AM radios, and they had those kind of headphones. Don't expect a lot of sound, volume, or bass to come out of them. They're these little tinny things. They were plastic, and the sound was very high pitched. It's called tinny, Tinny, and it had a very tinny sound to it. But hey, at least they were headphones. So now they're listening to a game show, and they're talking about how as a game show host, it's gonna that they're gonna whoever the game show is gonna drop them off on an island, a deserted island. They have to live by themselves totally for a week, and if they can survive on their own without any assistance, they get 10,000 at the end of the week. And remember, everybody, this is decades before the show Survivor was on the air. And not only that, though, unlike Survivor, they're not going to drop the. In here, they just drop the contestant off with a transmitter, and that's it. On Survivor, obviously, it's all rigged. There's a script. They've got a camera crew, and they got directors, and they've got producers, and all that other stuff. So That's why I'm not a fan of supposed reality TV because it's not real at all. Mr. George Barkley has already been dropped at a deserted island, says the announcer. During the week, we will be in touch with Mr. Barkley periodically by shortwave. Good luck, George Barkley, wherever you are.
No, I'd have an issue with that. That they're gonna just trust his word that no one. You think they will check the island before they drop him off?
Well, that's why that's just it. They're assuming this island is empty because, as I mentioned before, like even in the last episode, this island is uncharted. So I think that because it's uncharted, that's why they're assuming that nobody's there. But I could be
Yeah.
wrong. So now it's where they say, well, we don't have enough fish for dinner. Maybe they should pick up some bananas too. So they say, okay. And here we have our contestant and our guest star, Strother Martin, playing George Barkley. There we go. So I don't know if you remember him now, Gorilla, but yeah, he was in Lost
Yeah.
His Face. I think it was just last month. It wasn't long ago where we had him in Lost His Face, where he played the miner because
Yeah.
he's Mr. Narum, and the name was an anagram for miner. It was miner spelled backwards.
Yeah.
A very, very, very talented man. Very, very talented um, character actor, which Hollywood doesn't seem to have anymore, unfortunately. I mean, the guy could play a true psycho. There's so many movies and TV shows that he has done that I could recommend. I could go on and on and on. The guy was a master at acting. So now they come with the bananas, but then Gilligan notices that the fish are missing. And they're thinking, well, maybe the girls came along and picked up the fish. And Skipper says, is there anything you can do to make my job a little easier? So Skipper's asking for help carrying these bushels of bananas. And all Gilligan says is, yeah, I can play a marching song.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Skipper asks, "Is there anything you can help me with?" It. Dun, dun, dun. He just plays something in his head there.
Right. Boy, can these be bananas get heavy. Maybe we should have peeled them first. And see, this reminds me of a question you had last week where we were talking about are they real or are they props? And I'm guessing these bananas are real because I honestly think they'd be cheaper for them to go to a grocery store or because this is, remember, Los Angeles. So I'm guessing it'd be cheaper for them to go to a grocery store or a fruit stand and pick up a bunch of real bananas. That's probably cheaper and faster than trying to manufacture a fake ones
Yeah.
because they do
Yeah.
look realistic. So I'm guessing they're real.
And plus, that way, then the actress can have a snack in between shots.
Exactly. They can eat them between shots, and they can also take them home to their families and write them off as a business expense for the show. So they're talking about they're going to ask the girls and see if the girls got the fish in the lagoon, and they're asking the professor, and he didn't. And he's saying perhaps it was Gilligan, but he says no, Gilligan was with me. And there we have with Mr. Barkley, the game show contestant. Looks like he got a little picture of his wife there, and it looks like he obtained a skillet as well and some cooking utensils. And then now the girls are saying their cooking utensils are
Yeah.
missing.
The mistake, same mistake in this episode as last week's. The
What's that?
the hammocks are missing.
Yes. But is this the girls' hut or is it Gilligan's hut?
This is supposed to be Skippers and Gilligans, I thought.
Okay. You could be right. I'm trying to figure out is it the girls' hut or Gilligan's? I know they've got the curtains on the windows. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. And now is where Skipper is telling the Howls about the missing fish. And of course, the Howls have no idea. They were not there. They have no clue. And Skipper's trying to explain to them about what happened with the fish, but Mrs. Howe's going on and on with their own story, of course. Let me stay on topic, says Mr. Howe. Well, when we got back with the bananas, and she's going on and on about a different story, and she asked the skipper, "Did you notice a tall, dark stranger?" And he's like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, with a slouched hat and a black cape near the corridor." And he says, "What corridor?" And she said, "How do you expect me to solve the crime? Sorry, you guys. Of course, I can't read all the text, and I don't remember. I don't have everything memorized."
What she's doing is remembering a guy that broke into one of their homes there. She's just describing him there, and
Yeah,
Mr. Howell pretty much just told her, "Lovey, stay on topic."
or stay on topic when they don't realize that the skipper's trying to tell them about something that really happened, and they're just going on about themselves. And then now we have back with they're definitely now in a Skipper and Gilligan's hut. And see, this is
Yeah,
what I
the
was
hammocks
talking
are
about. We don't the hammocks are missing, but we don't have the curtains on the windows either.
yeah.
So
And,
I'm guessing that earlier that may have been the girls' hut.
yeah. And welcome DJ Play Nice. Welcome. He's
Hello,
just
DJ Play Nice.
stopping through to say hey and juice the algorithm. Have a good night time, everybody. You
Well,
too,
thank
DJ.
you. Very
Yeah.
kind of you. I appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, wait, we're not there yet.
So now we have, as you can see, the contestant, Mr. Barkley, has even more supplies that he has taken from the castaways. So he's definitely cheating. Because, like I said, according to the rules of the game show, he had to be totally on his own with no assistance from everybody else. But yet he's stealing food and water and everything else from the castaways. Come on, Julian, let's go and round up some stuff for dinner. Another talking about how he's trying to keep it secret because if they find out that he's using or getting any kind of help, that he's going to lose the $10,000. And here's where the girls come in and say, "Are you playing shuffleboard with my plates again?" So Marianne says that her plates are missing, and Ginger says that her skillet's missing. "What about my frying pan?" she says. And Skipper says, "Is there something significant there?" "No plates, no frying pan, no dinner." "Marianne, did you take my hammock to collect the wash again?" says
Yeah.
the professor. So they even took the professor's hammock.
Now I got a question here. Was it the Did the professor always sleep on a bed?
From what they've established, yes. They say that also a hammock, but I have not seen one myself on camera. That is, as far as
Yeah.
canon is concerned.
Yeah. And welcome Daniel's Hot Topics.
Hello, Daniel. Hello. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, buddy.
Yeah, but I always thought that he slept on a bed. So
That's
that
what
could
they've
be a
shown. So you're right. They've shown so far. They've shown him on a bed. If I was on the island, like I said, they haven't showed this on camera or as part of canon. But if I was on the island, I would have both. I'd have the bed because it's comfortable, but I'd have the hammock for when it was like really hot nights because it breathes a little better than a mattress. Another talking about house arrest again. Everybody's pointing fingers at each other, thinking that they've stolen all these different objects from each other. When, as we know, it's Mr. Barkley, the game show contestant. "One of you is a thief, and no one can leave this island. I intend to notify the FBA," she says. "Good, Mr. Howell's going to notify." He says, "And the FBI," says Mr. Howell. And she says, "Good, Mr. Howell's going to notify them too." So it's a play on letters. So now they're thinking maybe a monkey is stealing their equipment. And Gilligan says, "Wait a minute, I think I just heard something." And he peeks over the bushes, and there they find out there's the game show contestant, Mr. Barkley, and there's all their missing items, including the hammock. And Skipper said, "Well, what was it?" He says, "It's a guy lying in a hammock eating a banana." And they don't want to spook him. Now, Skipper's thinking all Skipper wants is to get his hands on that transmitter so they can use it to call for help. Shortwave, Mr. Barkley, come in, please. So now we get the announcer calling Mr. Barkley on the radio. Barkley speaking, go ahead. So Skipper tells him, now listen. Well, this primitive life is a little hard to get used to. Right, as you can see, he's pretty much living the life of luxury. So they rush in and they grab the transmitter. But before they do, Mr. Barkley pulls a piece off of it. So it's not working. Oh, ha ha, mayday, 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 says the skipper. Sort of spoil your fun, mister. Mayday, come in, mayday. Calling anybody, hello there, hi, hi, this is the skipper of the SS Minnow. And Gilligan says, hello, and he says, I wasn't talking to you, Gilligan. And now Skipper's realizing, I guess I broke it when I grabbed the mic. And they said, well, the professor can fix anything. And they cut and they show the professors, and he's saying, it's hopeless. And you can tell by looking at anybody who knows radio, you can see that the antenna, they kind of rigged it up for this shot here, for this scene. But the antenna is running through the hinges on that transmitter, which is not the way it would be. Those hinges would actually hold the lid instead, not the antenna. The part that goes on here is missing. So they're like, okay. And they're looking at Mr. Barkley because they know there's only one place that part could be. And now we get to later on, the professor's still working on it. And they're thinking, well, maybe that battery's dead. But Gilligan touches something on the inside and gets shocked. And by the way, anybody who knows, and for kiddies out there, if you're listening or watching, don't touch electronics on the inside. Especially if you touch like a capacitor, they can hold a lot of voltage and amps. And there's where he touches it again, which you don't want to do. At least he has a probe in his hand. But I guarantee you they would not show that these days because they think it would be dangerous for kids to pick up that habit. All right. Sorry, I'm taking a swig of something to drink. Yeah, it was like a talking to a stone wall. So they keep asking Mr. Barkley, where's the missing piece? He took out the transmitter. And they're saying, yeah, it was like talking to a stone wall. And Gilligan looked old in that still right there. I know it's a bad snapshot where I paused the video, but Gilligan is looking a little older there. I even offered to belt his brains out. We begged him, we pleaded with him. Well, there's no doubt that Mr. Barkley removed that part, says the professor. Well, fellas, is the transmitter fixed yet? Says Mr. Howell. I'm afraid Mr. Barkley has removed a vital part, says the professor. You would think the professor would know which part it is. Sorry, I had to clear my throat, everybody. And Mr. Howell decides to reach inside and is also shocked and says, "Oh, it bit me."
Yeah, yeah, but getting zapped by those should be that bad.
But yeah, you're right about that.
Cause I've been zapped by crap before, and it's like, it's just like a static shock. And especially, it would have been discharged after Gilligan shocked himself twice. All that like built up electricity was discharged.
Okay, the way a capacitor, it's called there's a device called a capacitor, and the way it works is you can unplug, like let's say a television or a radio or whatever, from the wall, and that capacitor can hold a charge for hours after that. So just because it's unplugged from the wall does not mean it doesn't have a charge. It can still shock you even later on.
Yeah, but would the it like be drained out after you got it gets zapped twice? Someone gets zapped twice.
Not necessarily, no. It could still have juice in it. Greed, Mr. Howell, makes people do. So that's why Mr. Howell's confused about why is the guy doing all this just for $10,000. And the professor's greed, Mr. Howell, makes people do strange things. And of course, of all people to tell Mr. Howell that. But all this commotion about petty cash, he says. Of course, because it's Howell, this is nothing. 10,000 is just petty cash. So we must treat him with the utmost consideration. They're trying to figure a way of winning the man's heart. But as we found out that he can't be trusted. So now they call him into their hut. Yes, I believe that you're interested in a certain sum of money, they say. You bet I am. Thurston and I have loads of it, she says. And here's where we get our first reveal that the Howells actually have a hut safe. So they
Yeah,
have a safe hidden inside the wall of the hut, and of course, which is totally comedic because there's no way that wall could handle that weight. Because if they even made their own homemade their own homemade safe, it would be very heavy.
yeah, and not
But
only
it
that,
is a comedy.
and not only that, well, first of all, we'd seen it from the outside, and second of all, where'd they get that lock from?
Yeah, exactly right. And Mr. L reaches his hand in there, snap, and there's a big old oversized mouse trap, which he had forgotten about. Oh, that's smarts. Now, sir, which denomination do you prefer? So they're planning on bribing Mr. Barkley for the part to the transmitter. And she's offering him 11,000, 15,000, and Mr. House says 30,000. Lovey, you're bidding against me, he says. Oh, but you know how I always get carried away at auctions, she says.
Yeah. Oh god, she pulled my what my step grandma did. We played this game called Bonkos there at like
Uh-huh.
Christmas there, and where
Uh-huh.
everybody brings a couple cheap presents, and we all put them in the center, and we got roll. If you roll doubles, you can grab a present from the center there. Then after all the presents are grabbed, we unwrap them, and then we set the timer for 5 minutes. We set the dice around again and roll them. If you roll doubles, you can steal whatever you want.
Oh,
Well, Jan,
nice.
Jan, that one Christmas there, she ended up with nothing. And the rule is, if you end up with nothing, you can grab whatever you want off the table. And
You said
she went and
Jan?
grabbed the Grandpa's lottery ticket. She goes, "What are you doing? That was already ours."
You said Jan?
Yeah, yeah, she's a step grandma.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so anyhow, she grabbed Grandpa's lottery ticket. He's like, "What are you doing? That's already ours."
Meanwhile, later that evening, now see, this is why I think this is a girl's hut because the curtains on the walls and the flowers and all that. Look at that. The skipper even threatened to beat him up. How often you hear that on Gilligan's Island, right? So now they're trying to figure out how to get to Mr. Barclay, and they're trying to come up with ideas. And Gilligan's like, "What are we gonna do?" And Ginger's basically showing him, "This is what I'm gonna do." And she's gonna use her usual tactic, of course, with her wily ways. And now Ginger says, "Marianne, do you want to come with me?" And Marianne says, basically tells her, "No, it looks like you. What for? You already have him outnumbered," she says, which is true. And there he is. We have Mr. Barclay. Well, I was just taking a little walk. So here's where she tries to seduce him. And says, "We have an awful lot in common." And he said, "Maybe we can meet later, say 10 o'clock." And who? And then he changes his mind. He says, "How about maybe make that 9 o'clock?" So he keeps making it earlier and earlier. Oh, and don't forget the missing part of the transmitter, honey. Oh, forget about that, he says. And he says, "How about let's say 8:30?" And never mind about that. As she keeps seducing him, he says, "How about now?" But yet he has no intention of turning over the missing transmitter part. Well, to put it, whoops.
Now the thing is, wait, never mind. We're not there yet.
Okay. Gilligan, we've got bad news. Whole transmitter's gone. The Barclay must have deliberately kept that missing part from us all along. So it's like, duh, yeah, I think that would be it. If you're gonna keep talking. So Gilligan, remember, he still has the headphones in his ear. Headphone. So it was one piece. It was not stereo. That was an AM radio, which means it was mono. Sound, which means one speaker. So the headphone only had one little plastic speaker that would stick in your ear. Well, we can't hear it anyway. So once again, Skipper pulls the plug out from the radio so they can all hear. And then the announcer says, "You have only have 2 days left, Mr. Barkley." And All America wants the answer to one question: can you hang on for another 48 hours? So Barkley is still in communication with the radio station, apparently. But that's why he's holding on so desperately and hiding that transmitter. He doesn't want the cash fleet to get their hands on it and win all that money. Because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Announcer, "Oh, you've shown rare courage, Mr. Barkley," which of course is not true, as we all know, because he's been lying to everybody. "And I'm sure this is going to make you famous. We must locate him within the next 48 hours," says the announcer. "Well, certainly the next 48 hours. He could be anywhere, everywhere. No, we just stay right here," says the skipper. "I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Give me a minute."
All right, so while he's doing that, uh, Daniel said hello, Papa Gorilla, and we said hello back there. And Daniel says another day in paradise for Gilligan and the others. And we got Taylor Swift waving. Then he goes, PvP says hi, Suzanne stepped away for a bit. Okay. And Suzanne says, LOL, a 3-hour cruise, pretty sure they are overpacked. Never mind bringing it safe. Now, it looked homemade. It looked like a rock with a dial on it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe it looked like it was handmade.
Yeah, a hut safe. They can build everything except a boat.
Exactly right, but they can do a safe with a combination lock.
Yeah. He goes,
Is that
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
was glued to the television for every episode.
Same here. Every day when I got home from school, It was Gilligan's Island, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, Star Trek, Lost in Space. That was my daily regimen. And then here's where they all are searching for Mr. Barkley. So we have the skipper and Gilligan, and the skipper says, "Shh, look up there. There he is." And there he is at the top of this cliff scene. And Mr. Barkley's, remember now, he's hiding out from them. That's why he's up there on top of that cliff. To make sure the people on the radio hear us. So they're talking about what they're going to start doing is when he starts talking on that transmitter to the radio station, they're going to start hollering and yelling so the radio station can hear them.
Not a
But just
bad idea.
having no, it is a good idea. Announcer says, "I said I imagine you've been anxious to see people again." Oh, what people? So he's still playing the ploy that he hasn't seen anybody at all, that he's still totally isolated and alone. And he says it is tougher than you think. Well, no, so there must be another. So what we have is Skipper and Gilligan are down below yelling. We're the SS Minnow, we're the skipper, we're Gilligan. And the announcer on the radio says, is there somebody else with you? And Barclay says, oh, no, sir, there must be another radio program on this frequency. So that's the reason why you see that in the text. And Gilligan and Skipper catch up to him. But ultimately, I'll take that. And they struggle over the transmitter. But unfortunately, Skipper grabs the microphone and starts yelling into it, hello, 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 mayday, mayday. We're from the Minnow 2. There are 7 other people on this island. Tell them about me. Tell them about me. I'm sorry to do this. Can I talk? Can I talk? So Gilligan and the skipper are fighting over the microphone and trying to talk into it. When you get here, there'll be 7 of us here, says Gilligan. Give me that. And they're still fighting over the microphone. And now they're all content saying, thank you, Barkley, because they're thinking they were able to get their message out on the transmitter. And they walk away. Then Mr. Barkley holds it up in his hand and shows that it was actually disconnected and was not hooked up the whole time. So their message did not get out. And now we have Beethoven playing. Dun, 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 dun. That's the theme. I can't actually play the theme, of course. Otherwise, even though that theme is in the public domain, I'm sure if I played it, I would get a copyright warning with YouTube the way they are. But we have Mr. Howell conducting a symphony, apparently, using the radio. And they run into him out of excitement. How did I sound, Mr. Howell? And like I said, I'm sorry, you guys, that we can't read all the text. We have to skip like every 5 or 10 seconds. So now we have Mr. Barkley up still on the cliff, and he plugged the microphone back into the transmitter, and he's talking to the announcer. Yes, yes, and I can't wait to see the thousands. No, the millions of my fans. Oh, look. This transmitter is going dead. So he's lying and he's telling the radio announcer that the transmitter is going dead. And he does it just as the skipper arrives. Just pick me up tomorrow as prearranged, he says. And he throws the transmitter off the cliff. And according to the skipper, it gets smashed on the rocks below. Skipper, there he goes, says Gilligan. So now what they're talking about doing is each of them are going to try to watch because they know that Mr. Barclay is going to sneak away tomorrow, the next day, and get rescued. So what they're going to do is they're all going to break up and go to different parts of the island. And that way, if a boat arrives to pick him up, they can rush and get help, and beg for help for everybody else. I'm sorry, it's hard to remember exactly what's going on with this. I sound more like a fool trying to remember all the words, and I don't remember the words. But essentially, that's what they're doing. They're all hiding out on different parts of the island, hoping to spot him when he gets rescued, so they can rush up and get rescued as well. And we get some more stock footage. And we have Lovey, and none of them see anything. A lot of great use of stock footage, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We even have Gilligan hiding up in the tree. And he says, "Why are you looking up in the sky?" He says, "Because he's looking at that helicopter that's leaving." Helicopter? So they were expecting a boat, but unfortunately, the rescue vehicle is a helicopter. And he said, "Well, why didn't you say something?" "Well, you told me to yell if I saw a boat, right?" But, and now we have the recap, and we have the announcer with Mr. Barkley back on the island, or back on civilization, I guess you could say. During all the time he was on the deserted island, how do you like that? And of course, Mr. Barclay's lying, saying he never saw anybody. And the announcer asks if we could just have that transmitter. And Mr. Barkley says, "Why?" And he says, "Well, the I'm going to explain this because I don't remember exactly verbatim how they announced it here on the show. But there was a hidden compartment on the bottom of the transmitter that had the $10,000 in it the whole time. And Mr. Barkley didn't know that when he threw it off the cliff. That's where we put your $10,000, says the announcer.
Serves him right.
I completely agree. So now we have a recap, and they have a net with their fishing. So now what they're doing is Skipper and Gilligan are out actually searching for the $10,000. So that's why they have the net. But they're saying they haven't had any luck. But Gilligan said nobody found his secret agent ring, which he's lost a couple times and refound and then lost again. And Skipper grabs it off his hand and then stomps on it. So we're assuming, I guess, he breaks it. Skipper's frustrated. And Mr. House says, "Look, I was down there watching out my money, and I found an additional $10,000. Interest seems to follow me wherever I go," he laughs. And we got our closing scenes. And our sad castaways. And we have special guest star Strother Martin as George Barkley. And our closing credits, of course. And this right here, I wanted to mention this too. Music composed and conducted by Gerald Fried. This is the same guy who did a lot of incidental music for Star Trek. So this is similar like what PvP was mentioning, where the music's going to sound familiar. This is especially when you have the same people doing it over and over and over. But I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again. Gerald Fried is the great composer that did the music for A Mock Time, where Kirk and Spock fought each other. Like Robinson Crusoe, it's primitive as can be. Glad to see your productions. Okay. And that concludes two more episodes of Gilligan's Island from season 3. So, my good friend Gorilla's random thoughts. Which episode would you say you prefer the most between the two?
Um, I would have to say the jail one because that one there's a classic trope. It's so funny. You know it. I the second one there. I know it's supposed to be a comedy, but there's those few little nitpicks like they will check the island first, and all that stuff. And then it's good acting, but I think I prefer the first one because it's more believable and I had more fun watching that one.
No, that's understandable. I can understand that. And I'd have to agree. I'd say I like the first one as well. The most between the two. I enjoyed both of them, but if I had to choose between the two, I did like the first one the best. It's an old trope, but it's always a good, reliable trope, and it's good for a laugh. So I agree with you there. And as a reminder, everybody, we did put a poll in the chat. I'm pretty sure I did this time. I think I remembered. If you'd like to vote, let us know what you think. If you enjoyed, let us know which episode you enjoyed the most, or which coverage of how we covered the episodes that you enjoy. And if you enjoyed the stream in general, maybe consider hitting the like button. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and then I'll share it with everybody. And give me just a
But
moment, and we'll
and
do
uh
that. Go
and
ahead.
Suzanne says you're doing great, Pop. And Suzanne said, and
Thank
the
you.
Andy Griffith Show was an afternoon school show as well. And she said that was cute.
Yes, I agree completely. Okay, so here's where we have the results of our poll. It looks like we got 7 votes. Thank you for voting, everybody. Thank you for your participation. Which episode did you enjoy the most? And it looks like 71% said Gilligan Goes Gung-Ho, and we got 28% with Take a Dare. So it looks like the people in the chat seem to generally agree with us. They like the first episode the best. So that's wonderful. I'm glad you guys enjoyed watching it. And I hope you had a great time tonight, everyone. It was so good to see you all again. I'm sorry I'm not tip top of my game, but I'm trying to hold up there. It's not easy when I'm on pain pills and my mind is loopy and I'm trying to keep track of what I'm thinking so that it doesn't sound totally crazy. But before we close the stream up, is there anything you want to add, Gorilla?
No, there's nothing I want to add except welcome Sean Carter.
Hello, Sean. Hope you're doing well, Sean. I'm sorry, we're just getting ready to close the stream up. We just covered 2 episodes of Gilligan's Island. I hope you get the chance to maybe watch it on the rerun. I think you'll enjoy it. It was fun. And we will be completing season 3 soon. At the rate we're going, it should be just a few weeks before we're done. And once again, I hope everybody had a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. And I especially want to thank everybody in the chat for being here and spending time with us. How are we doing on the chat, Gorilla?
We're
Before
all
I
caught
close
up.
that up. All caught up. Okay. And I want to especially thank Mr. Gorilla's Random Thoughts for helping me out tonight with the chat. I could not have done it without you. I promise that. And I hope your foot gets better, sir. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you taking tomorrow off or are you going to work?
We're going to work.
That's a true dedicated working man there. That's a true dedicated work ethic. So I give you total credit for that.
Or it's true dedicated. I'm poor and I need money.
Yeah, and you don't want to use up your sick leave. So I totally understand that.
I got a 3 day
But
week next week, so I'm not worried.
oh, very nice. What's that for? Is that a holiday or what?
No, it's called my daycare decided to take off, so I don't have anybody to watch the kid.
Oh, well, that's not good. But now that I think about it, we do have Memorial Day coming up here in a few weeks. But I don't know. It depends on if your business recognizes Memorial Day or not, or they're going to make you work right through it.
No, we get it off.
Oh, nice. With pay, I hope. So they better give it to you with pay. But yeah, great love and big hugs to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much, so much. I appreciate it. And like I said, especially thank you for helping me out tonight, Gorilla, with the chat and with the whole stream in general. And your computer actually did not drop tonight. You sounded great the whole time, and it never went dead, or that wire or plug or whatever it is didn't come loose. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So with that, everybody, stay warm out there. I hope everybody is not cold. If you work tomorrow, drive safe. I hope to see you all soon. Gorilla, tell us about your channel.
Well, tomorrow we should be watching Masters of Disguise for Cringe Stock. And then Friday there it'll probably be a 7:30 stream on Friday. There we'll be reviewing the Waltons episode The Ring. For Saturday, it's we're reviewing Constantine. And then on Sunday, I have a poll in my chat, but right now Super Troopers has taken off with it with 76% of the vote. And 16% of the vote. The next closest is 16%. Another channel
Nice.
4% is Super Troopers. So I'm guessing with 25 votes and it has 76%, I'm gonna assume Super Troopers is gonna win. So it's
Very
probably
cool.
gonna be, well, I'm not gonna close it out till Saturday.
Not until
And
Saturday. Okay.
then on Wednesdays we'll have Justified again.
And Wednesday back with Justified. Okay. And plus, you also have some excellent shorts that you publish every now and then, which I highly recommend to everybody. They're very hilarious, very funny. Check out Gorilla's shorts on his channel.
Oh, wait till I do that review for Jill's stream on Tuesday.
Which one's that? Which one's
That
that?
for the alternative factor.
Oh, okay, that's right. Oh, that's right. The alternative. We are on the last episode of TOS. I mean, it's like it's been a long journey, but it's really going to be sad for it to come to an end because I really had a good time covering the TOS episodes, and I'm going to miss that. I love Jill, and I love being on her panel. She's so sweet. I hope that I hope we can I don't know. I hope we can do it again with another show of some sort. Um, with my channel, is there anything else you want to add about your channel, or is that it,
Nope.
Gorilla? That's it.
Nope.
Okay, with my channel, Saturday we'll be back with another Rumblings from the Lab. Monday night we'll be returning with another episode from the classic Lost in Space season 2, and next Tuesday night for our horror sci-fi theater. My good friend Nemesis, it's his birthday, and in honor of his birthday, we're going to be showing the movie Akira from 1988. So please join us for that. I think it's going to be a wonderful time. I think we're going to have a blast. So with that, everybody, like I said, drive safe, stay warm. Bless you all, and peace.